So it's actually a class at Vocal Point. It's only
So
one credit hour.
Do you get graded on your performances then?
No.
You're like,
luckily,
dude, A-.
our director
tonight.
isn't that strict on it. There's disagreements. There are disagreements here and there when it comes to like what song we should sing, what music video we should do. If you want to find people that are like you will find them. You just have to branch out and look for it. Changes happen, and I think personally, I trust the president of the school, and the staff and the faculty to make the best decisions for the school at that time.
Welcome to the Third Hour podcast, where we talk about church culture and real topics within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, like the CES changes and the beard rule. My name is Mimi Bascom, and I'm joined, like always, by my husband and co-host, Eric.
Hey, guys.
We have a very special guest with us today. It is Jensen Diederich. Did I say it right?
You
Perfect.
did. You got it perfect. First try.
Perfect.
Love it.
Okay, so Jensen is a content creator, and he's a member of Vocal Point at BYU. We're so excited to talk to you. Thanks for being here.
So excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
How long have you been on Vocal Point?
So I'm just starting my third year.
Okay.
So I joined 2021, and then just the school year just started up, and so we just got a new group, and I'm excited. I don't know how many years I'm gonna do it, but we have to re-audition actually every single year. So
Dang.
yeah.
And
so
do
it's
they
my first-
actually cut people, or is it just to get?
It happens. I mean, a lot of guys audition and stuff like that, and there's a whole audition process, and so. You're not even safe even if you've been in the group.
Like, are you pretty nervous coming into auditions, or you're like, oh, I got this, I'm good?
It's a mix, because I feel like sometimes the directors know me and stuff like that, and then the auditions come and you just see all these guys that are just so good.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing with the auditions. It's you have the singing auditions, you have the dancing auditions, you have interview auditions, just to see your personality and vibe. And if you do get cut, because you've been in the group, it's not because you were just so bad and stuff like that. But a lot of the times it's just how the group fits better with certain people, and just voices mixed differently and stuff like that. And so, it happens. But so a little bit of nervous goes into it.
Yeah.
But,
Congrats on making it for 3 years.
Thank you so much.
Amazing. And for people who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Jensen Diederich. I'm from Holiday, Utah. Lived there my whole life. I'm 23 years old. I'm a student at BYU, singer. I'm in Vocal Point. I'm a content creator as well. I make a few TikToks on my personal account, but I wouldn't say it's a full-time job or anything like that. I just like to make little videos and stuff.
And they're so funny.
Oh, you're so nice.
And
Thank you
people
so
will probably
much.
know you from Things RM Say.
Things RM
right?
Say.
Is that probably your most viral LDS video?
As far as LDS content, probably. I made it 3 years ago.
Which is crazy, because I
nuts.
feel like I still see it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, because I made it 3 years ago during quarantine. I came home from my mission, and it was just, everyone was home. Everyone was on TikTok. I didn't want to get TikTok, but what else was I going to do all day? Read a book.
Never.
But
No books.
yeah, when you're on your mission, you're when I go home, I'm just gonna put away the phone. Flip phone is good for me, stuff like that. And then you get home for a few weeks and you're no, I need a smartphone. But no, I remember just coming home, and because I came home during COVID, so I got my mission cut short for 3 months or something like that. And so same with all of my buddies. So we all came home as just fresh RMs all at the same time. And I just heard all the things that we were saying and all my friends were saying, and I was I don't know, it just got into my head, and then I started just joking with a friend about it one day, and just decided to make a video, and for some reason people ate it up, people liked it a ton, and so even now, 3 years later, people only just refer to me as you're that one RM guy, they don't know me by my name, but they're just oh, you're that RM guy, or they just say I look familiar.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, and it's so awkward, because you're oh.
No, yeah, because I mean, I don't want to assume.
Probably because I'm famous on TikTok.
No, but that's not it.
I'm kind of a big deal.
I don't want to say just oh yeah, you've seen me from this.
No,
Right.
you're still some guy at church.
I think one time, at the beginning of it, when people were coming up to me, they were I know you from somewhere, and I was oh, I made these TikToks a couple months ago, and they're no, we went to high school together. And I'm just oh, that's it. I'm so sorry. So
No.
I usually try to sit down with them for 30 minutes and be where'd you go to school? Where'd you grow up?
Gotta have that life interview before you ever admit to TikTok.
Yeah, I will be the last thing that I say, because I don't know. But
Same.
yeah,
It's
it
so
occasionally
awkward.
happens. But I have it totally fits, because I think making those videos, the reason they were so successful is because, yeah, one, people could relate to them, but two, I just have a very BYU RM face. Like it's a baby face. I have the perfect like the side part hair. I haven't like messed up my hair at all or like gone like a perm or anything like that. So I just look like BYU.
You just belong at BYU.
And so I guess that's why it works. But
no,
hey.
I would never say it, but now that you say it, I'm like, okay,
Right,
you could be the mascot. Like Cosmo aside,
Cosmo can
like,
leave. It's just like, look at me.
Yes,
you
the
know?
smile, it's everything.
I'm the stereotype.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's okay.
No, it's great. I love that
Yeah.
you're owning it.
I know, yeah, for sure. I'll own it any day.
Another thing you might have to own, because well, that makes it sound intense. Well, okay, I want to start with our guests. Sometimes we do this or that. Sometimes I think it's fun to ask like a kind of a fun question to get to know you more.
Of course.
But have you ever taken multiple pieces of bread when you've taken the sacrament?
Oof. You know, I never like intentionally do it. I'll never like pick one and then go to the other side of the tray and like pick another or just like, but sometimes, you know, if they're right next to each other and I go to pick one up and the other one comes with, I kind of get a bit excited. I'm kind of like, I'm not going to like drop this
2 for
one.
1.
Yeah. It's like a little 2 for 1.
Yeah.
So,
I was gonna say it's a very different question of like on purpose or by accident.
no, yeah.
You know?
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it starts off by accident and then I have the choice to leave it or keep going with it. And I just
Well, that's
keep
just
going.
weird
got
to like
to.
take it out
Yeah,
and then
just
put
be
it
like,
back.
grab it with my other hand and be like,
Yeah.
no.
Right,
you
like
know, It's already
contaminated.
there. Might as well just follow through. You know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I love that. See, and I should have
question.
clarified that because I also asked our audience, does anyone have a guess on poll yes versus no? How many people have taken multiple pieces?
I'd say it's almost 100%.
I'd say
Have taken
I mean,
two?
unless you don't
I'd say
like
90.
take the sacrament or go to church, like that just happens at some point in your
it's
life.
happened to everybody.
Really?
Around 90? No?
37% of people said yes, they've taken multiple pieces. 63% said no.
Everyone's a
Wow.
lot more careful with the sacrament. They're like
Yeah.
grabbing
Very careful.
chopsticks and
Now I
like,
feel bad. I'm in the minority.
No,
Wow.
don't even feel bad because I didn't even realize it was an accidental thing. If I've ever taken multiple, it was on purpose.
Yeah.
And so
fast Sunday, I
Yeah,
need
those
this.
fast Sundays, those get you.
I've
grabbing
done
a
it.
handful.
I've
Yeah.
done it. And now I feel bad because all these people are like, I've only ever done it on accident. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's all they're admitting to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
You know,
true.
It was more of a thing when I was younger. Like now, like in my YSA, we use only gluten-free bread, which is like not the best bread.
What?
You know?
Grabbing 2 of those.
Not super tasty. It's not
Yeah.
the Grandma Sycamores. So it's like, I'm not taking 2 of them. I usually find the smallest piece and I'm like, there we go. That's good. It's good
That
for
is
me.
so funny.
It's nice though, like, you know, show solidarity and you don't have to worry about contamination
No.
for people that are actually like, you know, because you have like some people like don't like gluten. and
Yeah. I don't even know if there's
But
anybody in the
people
ward
are, like,
who's
legitimately, like,
gluten-free,
allergic.
but
Wait,
we just do
really?
it. I haven't met them. I don't think people like when I first meet them. I'm like, how are you? And they're like,
That should
oh,
be
hi,
part
nice
of
to meet
your
you. I'm
30-minute
gluten-free.
discussion
Yeah.
with them about why they know you.
Should
and
I?
ask
Yeah.
if they're
Yeah.
gluten-free.
Where are you from? Are you gluten-free, lactose intolerant? All the
Yeah.
above. Yeah, I love
Good
it.
to know. What's been the best bread you've ever had?
For the sacrament?
For
or
the
just in his
sacrament.
life?
For the sacrament, for sure.
Oof. So Grandma Sycamores is always a go-to. That was just what I had in my house. Am I wrong? You guys
Wait,
know.
I'm like thinking I don't even know.
That's like
what
the
does
white
the
bread
logo
they
look
sell
like?
at Costco.
Yeah, so white bread at Costco, it's like I think it's like red and yellow.
Yeah, like a yellow
packaging.
logo.
Anyway,
It's like Paul
that
Lee,
one.
that's the
I think
white bread
it's
they
the
have at their
most
house.
common, probably in Utah.
Really?
I would say so.
Okay.
And then after that, you guys know the one, is it Wonder Bread? But it's like all crust, but like the inside is just like the softest thing in the world.
I don't know
No,
about the whole all crust thing, but
Wait, yeah, what do
no,
you mean
I'm not about
all
the whole crust
crust?
thing as well either. So, but like when the sacrament comes, you just get the inside part because it's just very soft.
Okay.
yeah.
Anyway,
I mean,
so
Wonder Bread's
you're-
like it's like the lightest, airiest like white bread there ever was.
That's it, exactly.
So
yeah.
you're avoiding the crust pieces.
On those ones, yeah.
Okay.
I'm fine with the Grandma Sycamores. A good crust there. Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like, like the butt end of the bread from Grandma Sycamores. I kind of enjoy that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get this Grandma Sycamore bread.
You're
I
gonna
mean,
look
what-
it up after this. You're
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
am.
You've
to the
had
Smiths. You've
I've
definitely
had it.
Yeah, apparently
Yeah.
that's the bread they have at their house.
I don't know if I've had bread at their house.
You guys have bread at a lot of people's houses?
I mean, it's my brother's.
Never.
Oh, okay. I was
So-
about
oh
to
yeah,
say.
no, but
Like
no.
his kids would be like hungry, so like make some toast.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty sure Mimi's had toast there.
Yeah, you'll know. Next time you see it, you'll
Next
remember.
time,
Like that's,
if I
that's
see it,
the
I'm
right
immediately like, "Can I have a piece of bread?"
Of course,
yeah.
of course.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. I feel like
course, I
that
love it.
helps
There you
us
go.
get to know you deeper.
Yeah.
I have to read one
I was
last
gonna say
thing.
when you talk
Oh.
about the bread thing though, I think it was my dad actually was in a ward where they literally had to outlaw homemade bread because the ladies were
Really?
getting too competitive. they were all trying to like one up each other on who made the best bread. So they would like be home making these loaves of like cinnamon swirl bread and bringing that
cinnamon swirl bread for sacrament.
And the bishop was like, we're going to store bought white bread only.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've heard stories of people's words with like it's Christmas and so they'll use like cinnamon bread and stuff like that. And
my gosh.
I think, and I don't know how true. I don't know how true this is.
Here.
Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but I think he was in the same ward as President Monson at the time, and I think President Monson was just like said something to like the bishop, just like it's good, just make sure like in the future let's just not do it, you know, like I don't know. I don't know how true that is. Don't quote me on that, but anyway,
we
my
are
friend
going to quote you on that.
We're gonna put that on the shirt.
Yeah,
Jensen said.
Yeah, it's factual. It's there.
Oh my gosh, just promise me if you're ever the prophet that you can like, you know, change that and say it's okay to have.
You want the cinnamon?
I want the cinnamon bread.
Okay.
What if instead, before church starts,
mm-hmm.
there's a little meet and greet and you just have like some cinnamon bread, and then when we have the sacrament, we can actually all kind of focus on the sacrament. Because imagine that, you know, 15 minutes before church, they just roll out some nice cinnamon bread toast for everyone who shows up early. Then you got a reason to be there like we're supposed to.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
But then the sacrament, you're not like, ooh, cinnamon.
Yeah, Mother's Day is the best day in my ward because it's, you know, cinnamon rolls after every single sacrament meeting. So,
ooh.
Yeah, we get a benefit there.
Yeah, she's like, just bump it up, make it the sacrament, cut up those cinnamon rolls.
Of course.
See, I could see how it would be distracting.
And then for a cup of water, you just make that the icing. So then you just do it together.
Oh my gosh, a shot of icing.
Yeah.
Intense.
That would be intense. You know, it'd be like you could have like the bread as like the Texas Roadhouse rolls and then like, you know, cinnamon butter on the side.
With the butter. Yeah.
You need that. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the whole keep it simple thing makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, we're just going to keep it simple, and that's the best way to do it.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm convinced. Just have them eat greet before church.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Love it.
Anyway, okay. That was fun. I want to ask you about Vocal Point, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I have so many questions.
Okay.
So, you've done it for 3 years.
Yes.
Like how far along in school are you? I'm wondering if it's the thing, you know, where some athletes like they stay longer in
like
school.
Like a redshirt freshman so they can play another year?
Yeah. Like is that a thing with the a cappella groups?
Not too much.
You want to stay around to be a super senior so you can stay on the team?
So that, I mean, that's my worry because I actually I didn't get into BYU my first try. I was on my mission and I was originally going to a different school. I got accepted and everything. I just thought BYU was just like, I don't know, didn't feel like it was my vibe, I guess. And then on a mission,
the guy was the face of BYU. Didn't feel like it was his vibe.
Didn't feel like it was my vibe. And then my mission, you know, and every missionary will say this, like, oh, I just like felt called to go to BYU and stuff like that. But I did feel like it. You know, I had a lot of friends going, and I just feel like it was the right thing to do, you know, thought a lot about it. So I applied and I got the letter and I like had all these missionaries around me in an internet cafe and it said like rejected on it. And I was like, oh, well, that's okay, you know? And then anyway, it was quarantine, but I already had bought or like signed a lease for a contract at, to live in Provo.
Dang.
And so
you were showing faith. You were like,
I was showing,
I'm going.
You know, act of faith. I was like, I'm going to be there. Might as well sign right now. And then I didn't get in, but it was quarantine. So nobody even went to school. So all my roommates were just all together. We were all online. I was at BYU Salt Lake for a year.
Okay.
And I just like tried to do my best to get good grades. And then I transferred over 2021. And so before I started school, I auditioned for Vocal Point.
Cool.
And yeah, so I decided to audition, and usually I would say past members of Vocal Point, they're usually around like 3 years-ish, 2 to 3 years in the group. Mm-hmm. And there's not a cap. I don't think they have a cap on it. It's just kind of way the cookie crumbles there.
Yeah.
So this is like my third year.
You have to be a BYU student, right? Like,
you have to be a BYU student.
No way around that.
And fun fact, like some people don't know this about Vocal Point. The past 2 years that I've been in it, nobody was a music major. Everybody was either like a computer science.
Not computer science.
Computer science, big in Vocal Point. Huge deal at Vocal Point. So computer
they're just
science.
Singing while they're coding.
Yeah, like marketing. I'm an advertising major. I'm not a music major. This year we do have one guy who is a music major.
He ruined it. Did you guys try and kick him out?
No, it was kind of like, it was
him?
fun to say like, actually no one's a music major. And everyone go, what? But now we have to be like, almost no one's a music major.
Everyone except for that guy right
except for him right there. But he's a great guy. And so, so you just graduate and you move on from it. We've had 4 guys leave the group this year. Some graduated. Some were just focusing on school. Some were getting married and stuff.
Some
like that.
didn't make it through auditions.
No, that wasn't the case this year. That was
Okay.
it's happened in the past, but that wasn't the case this year. But no, yeah. So I don't know what I'm gonna do really. I think I love the idea of trilogies and stuff like that. So it's like 1, 2, 3. I love just kind of like 3. You know, you got A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. So that's how I kind of see it. But I only have 2 more years left of school, and so I could do
So you're
another
planning
year.
on 5 years of school then?
Yeah, no. Well,
Because you did it for 3 years, and you said you got 2 more. So
Yeah, I guess you're right. I thought you meant 5 more years. No, so 5 years total. No, yeah, I can't be at BYU that long. That'd be really weird. But no, yeah. So I have this year, and then I don't know. We'll see when the year ends if I'm gonna do it again or if I'm just gonna focus on finishing out school and graduating.
Is there like a longest time someone's been on? Has there been a 5-year member, the Vocal Point?
You know, I don't know about 5, maybe.
That could be your legacy.
Yeah, the most I know I think is like 4.5 ish, and so that's.
You could be the record breaker.
Because there are
could.
you say the 3 Star Wars movies, but aren't there like 10 Star Wars movies now?
That's true.
Just make another trilogy.
But trilogies
for
are just
yourself.
better, you know. Like just keep it simple. I'm a big Star Wars fan, so that's why I bring it up. But
Okay, love that.
yeah, I love trilogies. The Dark Knight trilogy, Star Wars trilogy, all these
Just have your
trilogies.
Star Wars trilogy and then a couple spin-off movies after.
I'll do
You're
a couple
good.
spin-off movies,
Yeah.
do a little acapella groups after I graduate and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, it won't be as good as the originals, but I'll be there.
But it'll still make your money.
I'll
so.
still make money. Yeah. If you make money doing college acapella.
Well, yeah, no, it's not paid, right?
No, we
Okay.
don't get paid.
Okay.
And that's the best part. So like,
That's the best part's not getting paid.
no, I mean that's just why I think Vocal Point is just
It's
kind of
only for
special.
fun.
Yeah, it's
So
just for
you've
fun.
got nobody there who's like too serious because they're trying to
Yeah,
make
but
money.
we all treat it like a job. It's like
Cool.
and a lot of the guys are married, and one of the guys, last year was, he's married, he was doing Vocal Point, he was working, and he was studying, and it was just such a hassle
Oh my
because
gosh,
Vocal Point's
yeah.
kind of unpredictable. We'll like get an email or like a text like, hey, we have a performance tomorrow at this time, everybody
Wow.
needs to be there. And so it's like, if you have a job at that time, I mean, Vocal Point kind of is our priority, and it's not like, oh, BYU's forcing us to do it. We all like just love it, and it's something that we want to do. And
Do you have people just not show up then? Because like, dude, I got something.
To
I
a
can't
Vocal
be
Point
there.
show?
Yeah.
no,
Like, no,
we're all
you
there.
must
I've
be
never
there.
seen it happen where we're just like, you can't make it, because it doesn't work. I mean, we have an arrangement, and it's a cappella. If it was like we had a track behind us and it was like drums and stuff like that, maybe it could work, and we could like, okay, you take his solo, blah blah blah. But this one, if one guy leaves, it throws off the whole thing, because it's like, oh, we're singing without drums, or we're singing without like guitar. I say this for those listening, I'm doing air quotes right now, but it's just like, because it's a cappella, we're essentially all the instruments as well. So no, we're always there, but it's a hassle sometimes to manage all those. And so we kind of see it as a full-time job, because we're also in charge of our social media and in charge of marketing and stuff like that. But I've never once seen it as a burden. Like whenever something, it's like, oh, I have something for Vocal Point in like the next couple hours, and we're gonna be there the whole day. Or it's like a music video that we have a sunrise shot, a sunset shot, a whole night sequence. And so I'm there for multiple hours on end. For me, it's just a lot of fun. Like I can't wait for it. And so I'm never like, this is.
Sounds like you should be on Vocal Point.
Yeah, right. I mean,
It's a good fit.
Yeah. So I mean, I love it. It's never too much of a hassle.
I love that.
So then, like, first of all, what part do you sing then?
So I'm a high tenor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
If you can't tell by my voice,
and
I
then
kind of have
what
a higher voice.
do you also sing instruments then?
Yeah. So I mean, if you're in Vocal Point, you sing everything. So
Okay. You don't have like a drum guy or anything.
So
everyone has to do everything.
there's only 2 parts that are those parts, and it's beatboxing. So we have a beatboxer. He's the one beatboxer.
Love.
And then we have one bass. And those 2, they're usually like always the same. Sometimes the beatboxer, if there's no beatboxing in a song, if it's more of like a slow song or like Near My God to Thee or something like that, then they'll have
I mean, you need beatboxing.
Yeah.
In that. Come on.
Oh, and that one, should we? Yeah, that'd be nice. But no, so they'll sing that, and then the rest of us is we have, about 2 baritones and then like 3 tenors, but it just like all goes up in range. So I'm like the highest one. and
not by tone, but by position on the team. You're the highest one.
Oh yeah, no, I wish no, but yeah, mainly in tone. But a lot of the guys just have like a wide range. But in most of the songs, I'm always like the very high, like falsetto, like singing at the top of my lungs. So. But it's a good time.
That's cool because then your family can like pick you out, right? They're like, oh, that's the high guy.
Yeah,
that's him.
That is the thing. My mom, like whenever we release a song or something, she's like, I heard you, even though I don't have a solo, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like because you can just pick me out. I'm just pinging all the time. So yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. But I feel like you have had like a lot of solos, right? Like
yeah, I've had a good amount.
I was on the YouTube channel and you sang with Encanto Girl, and you don't know about
Encanto
Girl.
Yeah, Dolores from Encanto.
Yes.
Her name is Adasa.
She's
the real
so
life
cool.
actress, and she's amazing.
And you danced with her and everything. Oh my gosh, you guys have to watch the music video. I watched it and it's been stuck in my head since.
It's same
so
with
good.
me. I mean, I love, that's one of my favorite music videos to watch, and it came out kind of right when Encanto was huge and stuff like that. And so
cool.
My nieces and nephews love it and stuff. And it was just so
now
cool.
You're cool for your nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Like, you did that.
Yeah, I guess. And so it's kind of weird. My nephew thinks it's weird because he watches my music videos like when my sister or something is cleaning the house, she'll like to put on Vocal Point, and it's just weird because he watches me on the TV and then I like come in to say hi and he just like can't differentiate the two worlds, and it's just awkward. So he gets shy sometimes around me.
Like other TV characters to show up. He's like, how come nobody else comes but this one boring guy? Like, none of the guys with superpowers show up at my house. Like, what's going on?
I know. So I mean, but it's a good time, and I mean, we made a Disney album. My first year in the group, and so that was just awesome. So if you see me on any songs on Vocal Point, it's most likely a Disney song. So we've done Cruella de Vil.
I watched that one too.
Yeah, which was a way fun music video. We Don't Talk About Bruno, All the Above. We did a Frozen medley and I See the Light from Tangled. So yeah, but it's been fun. Like I honestly feel like it's a blessing to be in the group and just like have these opportunities to, because I watched Vocal Point on YouTube like growing up. That was like my thing. I loved their music videos. And so now to be in the group and like have these music videos and me just like even being a part of it, even if it's just one shot of me in the back doing like a ooh sound or something like that, I'm so grateful for that and like love it.
That's so cool. So did you grow up singing then?
Yeah. So I can't pinpoint when I started singing. I think, kind of preschool around there, I would like sing like little nursery rhymes with my class and stuff like that. And then gradually my mom would put me in choir and like in the Sunday choir, I did like little solos in primary and stuff. And then after that, it just gradually went to, high school choirs. I didn't do anything big. Like I wasn't like a recording artist or anything. But I just love singing. And then I actually saw Vocal Point in 2011. They were on the Sing Off, NBC's The Sing Off. It was a cappella competition. They were with Pentatonics. Pentatonics won that season, and I think Vocal Point got 5th or 4th place.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wow. So I remember seeing, that was the first time I ever saw them, and I was like, well, I like to sing, and like my sisters at the time were Cougarettes at BYU, so they were dancers, and I was the only singer in my family, and so my mom and I were like,
was that like a disappointment, or were you the cool one?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they liked it. I mean, with none of them being singers, I think.
Because now you can sing, they can all dance. It goes
they were all the dancers. I just kind of like sat there. I would sing while they danced and stuff like that. So
it works together.
Yeah, and so ever since that, I was just like, oh, that's something I want to do. And so the fact that it worked out is just crazy to me. But
oh my gosh, that is so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, tell me. So you guys did Disney. What's like your favorite? Well, I'm just wondering if there's ever songs that you're like, oh my gosh, this song is so annoying, and now I'm gonna have to sing it a million times. Like, did that ever happen?
Vocal Point that you're like, dang.
Yeah, and don't say any hymns.
That is a good question. Is there any like annoying song? And I don't say this just because I'm a member of the group, but like I don't think there's any annoying song. Sometimes, we occasionally like will go on tour and stuff like that, and so with that we're doing 2, sometimes 3 shows a day for like a week and a half straight.
Oh my gosh.
And so you're singing the same thing over and over, and with every single one you have to have the same emotion and stuff like that, and you can't just be like bored like, oh, we've heard of this so many times, because the audience hasn't heard it. This is their first time.
Right.
So sometimes a song can get stuck in your head too long and you're just kind of numb to it.
Yeah.
But every single song that I've sung in Vocal Point, I've enjoyed. Like I've enjoyed singing. It's not like a song that's like, this is the worst song ever.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is I mean, we have a director and he picks all the songs and stuff like that. But a lot of it is also us choosing the set list where it's like, I like this song, or we want to create an album, or we want to do an arrangement. And so we'll all sit down together in a meeting and think to ourselves, like, what songs do we like? What works in shows and stuff like that. And so, yeah. And if there's a song that we all hate and we're all like unanimous in it, then we'll take it out of the show. So luckily nothing crazy.
That's so cool. Because I feel like...
So then what about at church? Are there hymns at church that come up that you're like, oh, this one?
Oh, hymns at church that come up. Not really. Being in Vocal Point, we sing a hymn every single rehearsal right at the beginning. So I'm like learning a lot of hymns that we never sing in church. Because I think church, you kind of all have like the same
like top
songs.
10 list,
you know,
or whatever,
Spirit of God,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Near My God to Thee, stuff like that. And so I'm not getting sick of church like hymns. I'm like finding more love and appreciation for them, like each song that we sing.
Because I've heard criticism. I think it's called to serve. People say it's got like problems with like, I don't know, something about the notes or something weird.
You know, maybe on my mission I heard that
it was something that was like a music major that they were like, this song is just not, it's just made wrong. It was something weird. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Wrong.
You know, there's some guys in Vocal Point with perfect pitch, and like if there's a song that has like a weird chord or something like that, they'll be like, it's a bit odd. So like we'll try to like tweak it and stuff like that. But
wow.
yeah. But nothing. No, yeah,
But
no song bugs me too much.
You just love everything.
I love everything. Absolutely everything. Nothing bothers me.
No, I feel like that's so cool. It's so cool hearing you talk about this, because I feel like Vocal Point is just such a big name. It's like in LDS households, it's a household name. And I didn't realize though, like how involved you guys were. Like, you know, so I think that's really cool. Is it considered like a club at BYU?
No, yeah. So, I mean, just touching on kind of what you said, like Vocal Point being a household name, something that we just emphasize a lot in Vocal Point as current members of the group is, you know, we haven't been here for the span of Vocal Point's history. You know, like Vocal Point's been around since 1991. So it's been like 30 years in the making. So the fact that it's a household name is no recognition to us. We are just like reaping the rewards of every guy that came before us. And so, you know, there was different phases of Vocal Point, you know, the guys that started it eventually. And then you said, you know, is it a club? So we're actually not a club at BYU. We started off as a club, and then BYU kind of like took us in a sense. So they took us.
Promoted.
Yeah. So BYU Vocal Point and BYU Noteworthy, which is the female counterpart of Vocal Point. We are the only two a cappella groups on campus that are essentially BYU organizations. And so
are there like underground a cappella groups?
Yeah. So there's a lot of a cappella groups.
They're illegally
at
performing
BYU
on campus.
Yeah, there's, you know, Amplifier, Beyond Measure. There's just like all these different groups, and some of the guys in Vocal Point were in a group like that before joining Vocal Point. And
before they cleaned up their act.
Yeah. No, but the thing is like these groups, the main thing that kind of separates us is we have BYU in our name. So it's like BYU Vocal Point, BYU Noteworthy.
Yeah.
Just being representatives of them. So it's actually a class at Vocal Point. It's part of my schedule.
Wow.
Every single year. It's only one credit hour.
Do you get graded on your performances then?
No. Luckily,
like, dude, A-.
Our director isn't that strict on it. But it is a class, you know.
Pass fail then?
If he fails us, we must have done something super bad.
If you didn't show up, then you'd be failing the class.
If we didn't show up multiple times, you probably would fail the class.
Wow.
But luckily, you know, we're not taking tests in there. We just mainly just show up and be a part of it, and I don't know, stick to your responsibilities. So yeah, it's a part of my schedule every single year, and yeah, it's kind of an easy. I don't want to say easy A, but just show up.
Doesn't sound easy, but you
no,
enjoy it.
it's not easy, but I enjoy it. So I don't
credit.
think of it as like I'm not solving any math equations. It's not rocket science for me. So, yeah.
Okay. And how many members are there?
So this year we actually changed. So for the longest time, Vocal Point's been a 9-member group. So
that's it?
That's it. There's nothing crazy. You know, so a lot of times I say, like, oh yeah, we only have 9 guys, and everyone's like, oh, I thought Vocal Point was like more of a choir and stuff like that. And they usually think of like our Near My God to Thee video, which came out in like 2014-ish era, and with that we had all of the men's chorus behind us, and people, and that's our most popular video, has like 35 million views, so people know Vocal Point a lot of people only know Vocal Point for that video, and so they think it's a big choir and stuff. But no, it's just 9 of us. This year we actually just cut it down to 7. It's been something that we've been like thinking about for a long time. Like my old director just was like, oh yeah, 7 just like kind of looks better on a stage and stuff like that. And you can still make great music with 7 guys. Like Pentatonics only has 5 people, you know, and so
should one up them, go for 4.
Yeah, I know. So we're just a 7-man group now, and it's weird because like I've only known the 9 guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so with this new group, we lost 4 guys and then we gained two guys. And so it's always awkward in rehearsals when we take a break, like, all right, take a water break, we leave, and then we come back. And in my head, I always think like, oh, 2 people are still drinking water. So 2 people are in the bathroom. We need to wait for them. And it's like, all right, let's get started. And I'm like, it's like such a small group. But because of that, you know, it's kind of nice. We're such a small group that we get along super well. And we're always together. So we're kind of like brothers and just really good friends, which is good. If you're spending every minute of every day together, you better get along.
Yeah.
And
So what's the biggest fight you've had?
Oh, the biggest fight I've ever had? The best part about us is, and we talk about this multiple times.
Don't say everyone gets along. You have had a disagreement.
There's disagreements. There are disagreements here and there when it comes to like what song we should sing, what music video we should do, what we should wear in our concerts and stuff like that. And the best part is though is like, yeah, we'll get in discussions and something will happen, but it never gets too far. And if like we get in an argument with one of the other guys, never ends. Like the end of the day is like always like, hey man, like I'm sorry about that, or like
figure it out.
And so because we're just good friends, like none of us have like bad blood between
Your
us.
ego's not
like,
in it. Like you pick my
like
song
that,
or I'm out of here.
No, yeah, like that argument, like I can never see him the same way again. It's like we'll get in an argument for literally 2 minutes, and then like 5 minutes later we're all like joking and laughing again, and it's not a big deal. So I love it.
That's so great to hear. And yeah, that makes more sense with the auditions and everything. If there's only 7 or 9 members previously, that's intense.
It's pretty intense.
And there's something I need to know.
Yes.
So there's a female counterpart a cappella group.
Yes.
Is there any
like
connection, like relationships between
relationships? So this year, no, unless some guys are keeping a secret from me, which I don't know. But in the past, yeah, there have been. My first year in the group, one of like my best friends in the group actually married a girl in Noteworthy. And
see, that's what I needed to hear.
And it's kind of like Pitch Perfect, you know? It's like the Bart and Bellas and the Troublemakers. It's like the 2 people fall in love and stuff like that. So, so I joined the group when they were like starting to date and stuff like that, and they met through that, obviously.
Oh my God.
But it's kind of fun, like the a cappella relationship, because we helped both Vocal Point and Noteworthy help them propose, like him propose to her. We sang a song and like surprised them. And then like, you know, Noteworthy girls were bridesmaids and Vocal Point guys were groomsmen, and like we went to their wedding. And so
I'm gonna cry.
This
needs to be a movie.
Cute. Yeah, and so they both have like, they're married, they've left the group and they're like working, but it's kind of fun. They're just like a cappella couple, you know, and they love it. Yeah, they're awesome.
That is so amazing. Okay,
if their kids grow up to not be singers, they're gonna be
they'll be
mad.
very disappointed.
Oh
probably.
yeah,
probably very disappointed.
So you brought up Pitch Perfect.
Yeah.
Are you a fan? Because I feel like a cappella was so big back in like 2016, like you were saying.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah, like what do you
Pitch Perfect. I saw it in theaters with like my mom and stuff like that, and so I watched it and like. You know, in some ways it's a lot like, you know, Vocal Point and stuff like that. Obviously it's BYU, so it's not as like, you know, the humor isn't the same, but you know, it's a lot of things like, yeah, sometimes we'll hang out with Noteworthy and stuff like that, or you know, not essentially us, but those different a cappella groups on campus, they have like an a cappella jam where it's like they all come together and all like sing their little songs, which is just like the movie, right?
Yes!
And then as far as the competition that there is at the end of Pitch Perfect is the ICCAs, and Vocal Point did ICCAs a long time ago, and I think we won once or maybe twice, but Noteworthy actually, in Pitch Perfect, the Bart and Bellas, you know, the main characters, they're the first female a cappella group to like win the ICCAs. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, BYU Noteworthy was actually the first female a cappella group to win the ICCAs too. So
no way.
And so in real life, and I think they were like 2 years ago as well. So it's a real competition. And so in a lot of ways, it's a lot like the movie. But yeah.
Okay. Did you watch Glee?
I didn't watch Glee.
Oh my gosh. Okay, see,
I
that's
listened to some covers here and there, but I never like watched the show.
That's like my entire Spotify.
Is
like
it really?
Glee. No, for real. Like I love it.
It's
but I feel
acapella.
like that's where my knowledge comes from, like the competitions and stuff. So do you guys compete now?
So we don't compete now, and it's not like there's a restriction on us
to compete.
Yeah, but like we're just putting our efforts in different places, and so in concerts, and competing it's kind of a hassle. You spend your whole year prepping up these like 2 songs that you sing, and then you go and you just have to, I don't know, it's a lot of time and effort. So instead of that, we're trying to focus our efforts more on concerts and tours. Vocal Point just very recently has started to do international touring. So I think a couple years ago they went with BYU to China and Taiwan. So it was like, but that was with like the Young Ambassadors, like a dunk team, Cougarettes, all these different performing groups as well. But recently, this past year was our first ever like solo international tour. So we went to Cuba in January.
Oh my gosh.
And we went to the Philippines in May.
Wow. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah, and it was so cool.
What was that like touring? Like that's crazy.
Oh my gosh, so cool. And so my first year, we did a little bit of touring. We went to the Midwest. And so we went all up the Midwest, Iowa, Kansas, all the way up to Chicago and like Wisconsin and stuff.
Gosh.
So that was like my first experience of touring, which was like awesome.
Yeah.
And then this past year, going to Cuba was it was insane. We've been planning Cuba for a long time. For the past like 3 years, we've been wanting to go. But there's just like a lot of complications here and there. It's getting into this country. You have to go through the church, then you have to go through the U.S. government and stuff like that. So the fact that we were able to go was just a huge blessing. And we went, and the church isn't like super popular there. Like just recently, like, couple decades ago, Christianity was just opened up, to start doing again. And so just to be there and have a show and be able to talk about the church at the show was just insane, because most people either hadn't heard of the church or like few members of the church. And so we had a few people come. We only did really one big show, but at the show we tried to emphasize as much as possible, like, we're so thankful for like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints for helping us out with this show and stuff like that. And anytime we brought up the name of the church, people would just like go crazy and stuff like that. And so it was like so fun to just see like the beginning of the church in Cuba, and for us to be like a small part of it as well. And then, so we were in Cuba for just like a week. It was the first week of school, funny enough.
Wow.
And so that's the thing. It's a time commitment. I missed a lot of my classes, but luckily one of my classes was studies of Spanish like culture and like Spanish countries.
Just give me an A. I'm in Cuba.
I know. I just sent him videos and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, like I'm doing this.
I am studying culture.
So we did Cuba, which was just amazing and such a great place. Like the people are fantastic there and just like so kind. And then May, right when winter semester ended, we got to go to the Philippines, and that was like a 3-week thing, and we just like island hopped. We went to Manila, Cebu, Baguio, Dumaguete, just like all these different islands. And I can like definitely say that was like one of the best 3 weeks of my life, because I mean, in what other world would I just be like a college a cappella singer going on tour to the Philippines, right?
Yeah, that's
and
wild.
it's
like
crazy.
Doesn't sound real.
Yeah, and because at the same time, like it has nothing to do with us. Like we really didn't do much to get here. Like Vocal Point in the past has just like worked so hard in order to go international touring, and we're just here like for the ride. And so we're so grateful for that. And the Filipino people, I've never met anyone nicer than the Filipino people. Like they are so kind, and definitely like top 3 days of my life was, this one show we did, and it was a convention center, and it was sold out, 2,000 seats. A lot of them were just like members of the church. A lot weren't members of the church. And it literally, like, I've never felt more like a rock star, just having fun with it's so weird because all these people are there just having a good time, and then they're wanting to take pictures with us. And it's just weird because we say all the time, we're just like 9 guys, like we're just like friends who just like all like to sing together. But it was so fun, and just like having a concert there and just meeting the people, and everybody's just like the best. And so I really miss the Philippines. It was in May, but I hope one day Vocal Point gets to go back. I don't know if I'll be in the group when it happens, but we definitely enjoyed it a lot.
There you go. That's
That
cool.
is incredible. I can't even imagine. So you're there like,
and it's like, weird because it's like
you start crowd surfing.
Crowd surfing. No, yeah, we didn't crowd surf, but just
That's a
being
missed
there.
opportunity.
It was a missed opportunity. I should have, it flew by my mind. I thought about it after, but no, yeah, it's just weird because, where else is a college student going to get that opportunity. And I love that. And it's something that I'll never forget. And I know that this is just like a short period of time, but Vocal Point has just given me so many opportunities that I'll never forget, that like I'm so grateful for. So yeah, I loved it.
You'll graduate and go work in an office.
I'm going to graduate. I'm going to go sit in the cubicle and just like, I'm going to tell my grandkids like, I used to go on tour to the Philippines. And they're like, yeah, sure, Grandpa, go to bed, you know, but no, yeah, it's awesome. It's a good time. Oh my
gosh. Okay. Well, that is so cool. Thank you for telling us more about it. I'm like, we need to come see you perform.
Come to the show. I'll let you know.
So cool. Yeah. Let us know, please. We want to hear, obviously you're a student at BYU. Mm-hmm. We want to hear more about your experience. So we thought, we have an advice segment on our show. Okay. We thought you could help us answer some advice from someone who's at BYU.
Of course.
So
this person says, I moved into Heritage on Monday, but these past few days I've been feeling so homesick, with like 6 O's.
So
I'm a Latina transfer student from San Francisco, California, and the transition has been brutal on me. Provo seems pretty, but I miss my Bay Area. So again, it's like 6 O's much. I miss my city, my house, my room, even my noisy neighbors, but most of all, I miss my parents and best friend. I even cried on the phone while talking to my parents. It may seem childish, but it's the first time I'm away from either one of them. Also, becoming a minority now has been very brutal too. But anyway, I'm sticking around because that's what I came for. Anyway, to make friends here. So far, I've tried with my roommates, but I feel like they don't like me. We don't have the same sense of humor or personality, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, she's not alone in this. I think not every, but I think most students at BYU or at any college has felt the same way. As far as like, roommates and trying to like figure things out. So I actually came to BYU during quarantine. And so because of that, I didn't meet anybody my first year.
That's crazy.
Everybody I met was my second year there, when like schools, like classes started to open up, and like, even the people I meet, I would just meet their eyes because, we had masks on the whole time. And so, and still it was like kind of, you couldn't go hang out with a lot of people and stuff. So it was hard in that sense. And, the advice that I'd give her, if she's struggling, being here, it's totally normal. Being homesick is normal. I was homesick when I first came here, though I live like 45 minutes away. So I'm not as far away as the Bay Area, I have to say. But something that I would do, one of the things I love about BYU is just like how many things that there are to do here. And I really wish that I took advantage of them my freshman year, even though I couldn't because of quarantine, but just like when things did start to open up. And even now, like I just am trying to go do more activities, like especially for freshmen. There are, the football games, the women's soccer games, the volleyball games. If you're not a sports fan, there's other activities. I think they just did like the blue foam slip and slide thing where all the freshmen and like all these people come together. On Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, there's tunnel singing by the Marriott Center where everybody just comes and sings hymns together and get to meet people every single Sunday. And that's why I love BYU, is there's always something that can happen. If you go to the Wilk, you can just like read a list of all these fun activities. So my advice that I would give her is get out of your shell a little bit and try something that sounds interesting, something new, something you like. And there's also a lot of clubs, whatever she likes to do, if you want to sing, like I said, there's so many a cappella clubs. And there's not just Vocal Point. There's like Young Ambassadors. That's musical theater. There's men's chorus, women's chorus, concert choir, BYU singers. And outside of singing, there's just so many clubs, Spanish clubs, like all of the above. You can find something if you look for it at BYU, and you can find people that you can connect with and relate to. And as far as roommates go, roommates can be hard sometimes. I've only lived with high school friends because I am kind of afraid of that, of like meeting, a new person and like not getting along with them. But most of like my friends, like most guys in Vocal Point that I know, all of their roommates are random people and stuff. And either they click very well with them, but your roommates are just your roommates. You come home, you go to bed, and you see them every single day. But
hopefully you get along well enough that it's like,
hopefully you get along well enough,
things get that, dishes are fine, whatever, That's all you really need.
Exactly.
Is that kind
and sometimes, it can, you have arguments here and there, and that's totally normal. If you've ever served a mission, you know what it's like to live with another person. That can be super hard. But yeah, I would just tell her, go find other clubs. There's so many things to do at BYU if you just look for it, and you will always be able to find somebody you can connect with. And so, yeah, that's the best advice I can give there.
That's great advice. And I feel like it's so hard because in movies, like you see moving into college with someone you don't know and you become best friends with your roommate.
Yeah.
But like, how often does that actually happen? So
no, it doesn't happen
love
that often.
Advice.
So
right.
I've been blessed with great roommates. If they're listening right now, yeah, I love you guys. But it happens.
You may
sometimes.
not know, but I like you. I promise.
Yeah. I'll tell them after this. Hey, you guys are cool. I love you guys. Anyway.
No, yeah, and don't be afraid to go to places by yourself. Like clubs, it's totally acceptable to show up by yourself. I mean, I wouldn't say like show up by yourself to a party. If you want to, like, good for you, but I would be way too scared to do that. But like clubs are a great setting.
There's so many things you can just
go
to by yourself.
Yes.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I do it a lot because all of my high school friends. So like I came in all together with 5 high school friends. Mm-hmm. We all lived in this small apartment together, and every single one of them is now married and just like, and when somebody gets married, like you guys know, you don't see them that often, and like rightfully so, they're spending time with their wives or their husbands and stuff like that. And so a lot of the times it's like, it's a Friday night and I'm like, what's everyone doing? And then they're like, oh, like me and the wife are having a date night, or just like, oh, sorry, she's sick. And so, yeah, so totally understand, but it's just like, I'm alone. So am I just going to spend the night here? And so sometimes I'll just go by myself. If there's like a basketball game, I have like the Rock Pass or something like that, I'll just go by myself or do something or go to the Will.
I love that for you.
Yeah, and it's super fun, and like you shouldn't feel
how
ashamed.
much of the time you show up alone to a game and you're just alone the whole time, or do you like actually like start talking to
sometimes
people next to you?
I will like show up alone and then I'll like text a friend or something like that, or if I see somebody there, I'll like sit with them, or I'll even just like start a conversation with like a person next to me and just chat with them and get to know them, and then it's like not as awkward, right? But yeah, there's
because I'm like, I would never have done that. Go to a game alone. I'm like, never.
I think I'd be too scared too.
Games can be rough, but there's a lot of things at BYU that you can like definitely go to
for
alone.
Sure,
and just like. And people won't even think that you're alone, because if you just start up conversations with people, you'll find a lot of friendly people at BYU that are just like, like, come join us. Or like,
you're in their group now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And sorry, one last thing, because she's talking about being a minority. I get that. Like when I first moved to Utah, when I first started at BYU, I was like, wow, I'm the only person of color in this room. And like, you notice that. And so I would say there are actually clubs like for totally. Asian Americans. I know about Asian ones. I'm sure there's one for like
there's
Latina,
one for like everybody. Yeah. There's a club of people that are from the same places as you, from the same backgrounds, ethical backgrounds and stuff like that. And so, or ethnic backgrounds, but and I know a lot of people that are part of these clubs, you know? And honestly, what a lot of people don't know, there's a lot of students at BYU that aren't even members of the church. If you are a student at BYU and you're not a member of the church, there are clubs for that too. You know, there's a Muslim club, you know, and all these different clubs on campus. So like I said, if you want to find people that are like you, you will find them. You just have to branch out and look for it, you know?
Yes, absolutely. So that's great advice. Thank you so much for sharing. And the last thing that we want to talk to you about is there was recently a change to the honor code for CES schools that was really interesting. There's been a lot of buzz online about it. It's interesting because as far as dress and grooming standards go, not a lot changed.
Yeah, when there's so much of a fuss, I was like, y'all, it's going to be some big stuff.
Yeah. And then it was like, okay, the standards are going to be the same across all CES schools, which basically means BYU students can wear shorts now. So
I mean, which
so
is a
happy
big win
for them.
Yes. That's a huge deal.
I can't imagine.
I know. I mean, I can't imagine wearing pants all day. I mean, I am a pants guy, I gotta say. Okay. But sometimes you need shorts on campus because it's so hot.
Yeah.
It's 100 degrees and you're like, well, I'll put my jeans on and go to class.
I know. So I'm happy
walk
for them.
to campus too. It's not like you just hop in a car and show up.
Yeah. I've seen on like so many people's Instagram stories who like are going to BYU. They're just like so excited about this. And it's just like a small change, and it's just like just shorts, you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So happy for you, BYUI students. But what I thought was interesting is when they revisited this, when I first saw the announcement, I'm like, okay, beards are going to be allowed. Because like what else is there to change really? But beards are still not allowed. So I thought it was really interesting because they were just revisiting this. They must have had that conversation, right? Because the only argument I've heard is like the beard rule is just outdated and they're going to get rid of it at some point. But this would have been their chance, right?
Yeah.
And they decided to keep the beard rule. Beards are not allowed at BYU. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on the beard rule.
You know, if I could grow a beard, I'd probably have a larger stance on this. I gotta say.
Have you tried though?
I've tried, and it just comes up with like patchy and stuff like that. I can kind of get a little mustache. It's a blonde mustache, so it really looks like nothing's there. But like, yeah, I try for like 3 days, and then I'm like, this isn't working, and I just have to shave it. But yeah, as far as like the beard roll goes, I mean, I've thought about it. We've talked about it a ton, and it's just like, and I don't know if anybody can really pinpoint the reason, because beards aren't bad, you know, like prophets of the church have had beards.
Beards are evil. Anyone with a beard is a bad person.
Yeah, you have, yeah, I'm judging you right now as I'm sitting here, but you know, and so they're not a bad thing. I don't know exactly what started it. I think maybe it was something like in the 60s and the 70s when beards like stood for like counterculture and stuff like that.
I think that was it.
I think that was it. And so and it just like hasn't changed. Even those beards like don't stand for that anymore. The way that I kind of see it, and like I said, I mean, I don't have a beard. So if you have a beard, you know, you may have a stronger opinion than I do. But I've always kind of seen it as like BYU's a private university, you know? And so like every private school, you know, when you think of a private school, you think of people wearing this like uniform and stuff like that. And so there are always like these kind of standards and regulations on appearance. And as far as a beard goes, not that there's anything wrong with a beard, but I think if I'm showing up to an interview or something like that, or for like a job interview, a lot of the times like I'll be like cleanly shaven and stuff. And I think BYU just kind of tries to set a standard of excellence, of like professionalism. And sometimes with beards, like you can look crazy professional with a beard, I gotta say, you know? And so, but you know, sometimes if you just don't have a lot of restrictions on certain things, people can just like have like crazy beards, which are like super long and stuff like that. And I just think BYU is just trying to set a standard of just like, yeah, just we want you to be cleanly shaven and not do anything wild or crazy. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's a good thing to think about is what about guys that can only barely grow facial hair, trying to grow a beard and
they never can.
How does like the church administration or the school's administration then like tell that guy like, you know, people could have beards, just not you. It looks really bad, man.
It looks so bad.
Sorry, but you definitely can't.
Summer is the best time to try anything you want with your facial hair. Like, like 2 summers ago, like I tried for the mustache. I had it for like 2 months. It was when Top Gun came out, and so and so I really wanted that mustache. I wanted to look like Miles Teller. You know what I mean? Anyway, my mom and my sisters were not big fans of it, so I had to shave that. But honestly,
I mean, it's good to give it a go.
Yeah, it's good to give it a go.
Gotta know.
But that's the thing. So summer, like a lot of guys actually in Vocal Point, they can grow crazy good beards, and like through all of summer, they have just like this big beard. And then school starts and Vocal Point starts up, and maybe the first day they'll show up with a beard or something like that. But then second day it's time to shave it off. And I've never seen like one person complain. They just kind of know. It's just like, I'm in Vocal Point and like I'm a student here at BYU, and there's nothing inherently wrong with my beard, but I'm just gonna try my best to be cleanly shaven, just to set a good precedent for the school, you know.
Totally. No, I think that's a really interesting take. And I think where people get bothered by it is, first of all, they're like, beards aren't bad. Jesus had a beard. Prophets had beards. There's no good
reason against it. So why do it? Yeah.
And then I think also something that people are like, oh, that's kind of annoying, is that when BYU's standards are higher than church standards, because it used to be that if you were in a bishopric or stake presidency, you had to be clean shaven. And even temple ordinance workers still need to be clean shaven, but that's the only calling that you need to be clean shaven for, besides missionaries, of course. So I think that's what's interesting about it, is where people are like, well, why is BYU standards higher? But like you said, it's a private institution. And there are so many organizations, like almost every single company has a dress code. The military, you have to be clean shaven. It's kind of just the standard of like, clean shaven is professional.
For sure.
And like BYU is interesting. I was doing research prior to this, and at BYU and even at BYUI, it's like formal dress is encouraged. Like for a long time, women couldn't wear jeans. It's maybe not encouraged, but that's why they didn't have shorts. Allow shorts.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
And so it's just interesting to see how it's changed over the year. BYU,
I missed that encouragement.
Clearly,
Same.
Oh, I was like in leggings, which is debatable if that's even allowed. Anyway,
I don't know too much about that.
But it's just interesting to see how it's changed. I think at the end of the day, BYU prioritizes having their students being professional, and I think it can set them up for the workplace if they go into that kind of industry. But I will also say that standards have changed in the honor code over the years. So if you are really like not a fan of the beard rule, keep doing your protests, keep doing your whatever, because peaceful protests, please. But things have changed over the years too.
Yeah,
so.
Things have totally changed over the years, and like even like not ton on like the honor code, but just like, you know, putting caffeine in our vending machines and stuff like that. Like when Diet Coke and Coca-Cola started to come in. Like I remember when that happened, that was a big deal.
It was huge.
It was a huge deal. And like my siblings were at the school at the time. And so changes happen. And I think personally, you know, I trust the president of the school, like, and the staff and the faculty to make the best decisions for the school at that time. And I've always kind of seen, including like the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, one thing that's great about the church and is a big part of our church is nothing's really ever set in stone. And like we have doctrine and stuff like that, and the doctrine doesn't change, but you know, sometimes changes will happen. Like 3-hour church went to 2-hour church, you know, come follow me, all of these things. And that's what I love is that there's the scripture that, I mean, I don't know the full scripture, but it's just like, you know, we hope that we will have more things revealed to us in the future. You know what I mean? And that's the beauty of having a living prophet and stuff like that. And I think sometimes, you know, with the presidents of BYU and the faculty and staff, I've been lucky to have a few interactions with the president. So President Worthen and now President Reese, and they're both just like amazing guys, and they care so much about like the students. And yeah, you'd think like, oh, you know, they have all these rules on the honor code and on the beard rule, but these guys just care so much about the students and about their education and just the betterment of their life, and they're just the nicest guys. And so I trust them to make the best decisions. And so let's say in a month or so we get rid of the beards, you know, like I think if they believe that that's the best course of action,
then you're gonna grow a beard.
Then I'm gonna grow a beard. I'm gonna try my best, you know. So maybe the Lord will bless me with a beard, right? But you know, and yeah, at the end of the day, that's how I see it. It's a private organization, so a lot of people, you know, don't like certain things about the honor code and about the beard rule, and I've always seen it not as more like, do I like this rule? Am I mad about this rule and stuff like that? But I mean, I read the honor code before coming to BYU, and I know that it's a private organization, it's a private institution, and so, you know, I'm willing to do whatever it is to just get the best education that I want and stuff, and yeah, and I think, you know, maybe down the road, if something changes, it'll change for the betterment of BYU, and I trust the leaders to make those choices for us.
I love that. That's great. Thank you so much. And this has been such a great and fun conversation. So thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
Tell us like what's next for you and how people can keep in touch with you.
Yeah. So, I mean, Vocal Point shows in the future and stuff like that. If you follow us on Instagram or on TikTok, you can see all the stuff that we're doing. We post very regularly. We'll have a lot of shows this year, and we're going to be releasing a lot of new music as well. So I hope people can listen to that as well. As far as me, you know, just going to keep going with school. If you want to follow up more on me, you can follow my personal Instagram at Jensen Diederich, and it's at JensenDiederich. Super complicated name.
It's okay. We'll have it linked too.
Yeah, you'll have it linked. Or on TikTok as well. That's where I post, you know, just more anything comedy or just any content that I have. You can find it there as well.
And as of recording, he's single. So ladies, if he looks cute, you like a good singer.
Watch out.
If you want the mascot of BYU.
The mascot of BYU.
Like,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay, last thing. I just have one request.
I love it.
For if you are taking requests for music for this year.
Okay.
One Direction. They were 5, you're 7, like not that far off, right?
Yeah. You want to know something good? So
yes.
Vocal Point about like 2 years ago released a song, and it's a One Direction medley of just like 5 One Direction songs.
What?
So you should totally. It's one of
already did it for you.
It's one of my favorite songs. We actually.
Wait, you're in it?
I'm not. I wish I was in it.
You said it was only 2 years ago. You've been in there 3 years. What are you doing?
I think it was 3 years ago. Sorry.
Oh, man.
I misinformed.
Before your time.
But I will say, we performed it for the freshmen at New Student Orientation. That was our first performance of the year, was the One Direction medley.
No way.
Because we love One Direction. Yeah. And the freshmen love One Direction.
Gosh.
And so,
okay, you guys make it happen. And Harry Styles.
some Harry Styles music. Yeah. Some, I don't know
Please.
what's a good Harry Styles song. What should we do?
As It Was.
As It Was?
Or Late Night Talking.
Mm-hmm. I think we've done a few like TikToks of some Harry Styles covers as well. So we'll see if we can get a song in there.
Okay.
A cover.
Okay, tell your director it was a specific request.
I will tell him.
Okay. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.